Hi everyone, welcome back to A Peaceful Pursuit. Today I just wanted to take you along with me as I do some work in my kitchen and some little bit of crafting in my home. I am mixing up some pizza dough, sourdough pizza dough with a little helper, as well as some banana muffins. I didn't really use a recipe. I used a recipe for the pizza dough, but not for the muffins. I kind of just used what I had on hand, threw in some collagen. I wanted to make them protein muffins, and I will show you in a little bit how they turned out. They turned out fine. I ended up eating most of them throughout the week, just with a big old slab of butter on them, but they did get a little bit burnt on the outside, which is weird because I only baked them I think at 350 and not for very long. So I don't know if it was the addition of the collagen or what it was, but it wasn't the best thing that turned out. But when you are experimenting in your kitchen, that's definitely bound to happen, and the food still gets eaten. I'm trying really hard not to waste as much as possible. So they still got eaten. They were not bad tasting, but they weren't like the most amazing thing that I've ever made in my life. I will chat more a little bit later on in the video, but I am kind of on a new journey of trying to avoid the grocery store. Now, I don't mean entirely, because we still need food and we do not grow our own food or anything like that. I would like to get into that a little bit more, but we currently don't. But I'm trying to learn better. I'm trying to learn how to stretch things more, and we do utilize bulk buying, like at Sam's Club, Costco, those types of things. And I do use Azure Standard periodically. I think that is going to become more and more as I'm getting into this more and more. But I'm just trying to buy things as cheap as I can and then put them to good use as best as I can. So one way to do that is soups. So that's what I'm doing here. My husband had purchased some ham steaks and he said he wasn't going to use them. So I had thrown them in the freezer, I think 2. So I pulled 2 out to make a soup because I had a bunch of broth to use up. And I just kind of threw together veggies that we had in the fridge, like just using what we have to make a soup, which is something that I wouldn't have been able to do a few years ago because I don't know, soup seems easy, but when you aren't used to cooking from scratch, it's not, even though on the flip side now it seems very simple. But I basically just put a hunk of butter in my Dutch oven pot and chop everything up, saute the carrots. I don't think I had an onion this time, but if I had an onion, I would definitely do that because that gives delicious flavor. Salt, pepper, then I added the ham chopped up, and then the broth, and then let that just simmer. More salt and pepper to taste, any herbs you want. And then I like to add a little bit of cream to soup as well. I feel like it just kind of bulks it up a little bit to make you a little more satiated, and it tastes really good. So that's what I do. You can honestly use anything you have and make a delicious soup. So it's a great way to use things up. It's a great way to stretch the meat with the veggies, and usually it turns out pretty good. here's a little snippet of those muffins. Like I said, they got kind of burnt on the outside, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I'm not sure why that happened. So if you are an experienced baker and you know, definitely let me know, because I did not have the oven too hot and I didn't bake them that long. So I'm not sure. But like I said, they were still enjoyed. I recently went to a friend's house and she has kind of like a vintage style like I do. So she had these two pieces that she was going to donate, and she was like, "Do you want them?" And I was like, "Yes, please." And so I brought them home. This one is just a tray, wooden tray with some beautiful detailing, and then the vintage golfing prints. You guys will have to let me know. I kind of want to paint this frame, but I really like the gold rim, that little subtle gold rim. So you'll have to let me know if you think I should leave the frame as is, or if there's another color or like an antique kind of color that I could paint it. So I ended up starting to paint this. I did not have an ivory color. I only had white, like stark white, and khaki. So I mixed them both together and it kind of turned out this like taupe cream. It's like a very light taupe. I'm not done yet. I have to do the sides. I have to do the sides still, but I love how it's turning out. It is doing exactly what I thought. I thought that painting it a lighter color would really bring out the detailing, and it's beautiful. I will have to show you guys in my next video, but I ran out of the white and khaki paints, so I ended up getting a vintage white matte paint and painting over it, and it still looks pretty, but you can tell that there's a few layers of paint. So I feel like, I don't know, I shouldn't have probably put so many layers, but it still looks pretty. I really like it, like an ivory kind of off-white color. It really brings out the detail. And then I'm actually working on painting this dresser. It was already painted, so super easy to just paint over it. I'm painting it a light green, kind of mossy color. It's actually called Mossy Meadow. So I will show you that with the tray when it's all finished, because they're going to go together. Working on challenging myself to avoid the grocery store for longer and longer, because if you're anything like a normal person, you've probably been feeling the prices for a while. Being home, I have the time, or I've had to learn that I do have the time to learn how to use things in the kitchen, cook a whole chicken, and then I froze part of the chicken so that I could use it later, because we won't eat the whole chicken in one meal. Then I use the carcass for broth, and so I'm trying to challenge myself to kind of apply that to other things as well. So just getting more creative. The thing is, you kind of have to know what you're doing a little bit, and I would not claim to know what I'm doing for sure, but I do know more of what I'm doing than when I first came home, because I remember making a sourdough discard pizza for dinner one night, and it literally took me 2 hours like to make it, and then I think it was, I don't even know if that included cleanup or if it was just to make it and then eat it. Like, it took so long, and my first thought was, this is not going to be sustainable. I'm never going to be able to do this. But you do. The more that you do it, you start to learn what makes a soup, what you can, I don't know, mix together for this or whatever. So yeah, so you start to learn. So I'm trying to do those kinds of things. Also utilizing dough, even though I'm kind of trying not to do too many grains because I don't have a grain mill. But if I get a good ferment in, then I feel a little better about it. So I'll make a double batch, let it do its first rise, and then put it in the fridge, and then I'll just use it.
Yeah.
And then I'll use it for different meals. So biscuits, you can use in a chicken pot pie. You can use in a homestead pie, which is beef, cheese. Use it for biscuits and gravy. You could use it for a side with a roast. Just like things like that. That I feel like helps to stretch it, and then you don't have to eat as much meat to feel satiated, what I'm saying. So just things like that I'm learning how to stretch the budget, and actually don't like the grocery store anyway. So it's kind of exciting. I guess I will have to keep you updated on. Sorry, I got kind of cut off there, but I will have to keep you updated on how avoiding the grocery store goes, sharing any tips that I learn along the way. I've been kind of into this content on YouTube as well, so I'm trying to kind of just apply the things that I learn, and I'll tell you, what works, what doesn't. We are not a large family at this point in time, so buying like a ton of stuff in bulk just isn't feasible for us, but I still think that some of these skills are just important to have, even if you don't produce your own food, even if you don't want to have anything to do with homesteading or anything like that. I heard somewhere that most Americans, or I think it was in most cities or towns, like the grocery stores only have food for the people in the town for 2 to 3 days, which when I heard that I was like, okay, that's, I don't know. And granted, the likelihood of things happening isn't super high, but I also think that sometimes we can like falsely rest in that and think that being prepared at all is just silly. And I don't know. I feel like there's a level of doing it without fear and without panicking and without wrecking your budget, but just calmly, like, it's probably wise to have some food on hand that you could feed your family for at least, like, I don't know, a week or something. More than 2 to 3 days, I think, would be wise. So I will keep you updated on how it goes, avoiding the grocery store. But I hope that you enjoyed this little video, just homemaking in my kitchen and crafting. And I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you in my next one.